AI has helped narrow down option in a better way, but I call it like a glorified SEO that LLMs are picking up. That's the brain behind it. The only difference is that it's showing you the content in a much better way than how we used to see on searches.
Welcome back to the podcast. Today I'm joined by Adnan, CEO of Software Finder, a leading name in software discovery and IT services. At RevGenAI, we build AI automated, outbound, and thought leadership podcast systems for B2B founders. And this show is where we're spotlighting growth minded leaders who are driving innovation in their industries. Today, we'll explore how Adnan and his team are creating impact, scaling growth, and shaping the future of software discovery. Adnan, it's great to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Perfect. So let's jump in. I guess a good place to start would be, can you just explain what Software Finder is and how it got started and what really inspired you to focus on software discovery?
Sure. So I was on the other side in my tech journey. I was working for a company and I've been assigned to find a software. This was maybe 10 years ago. While trying to find a software which is, more business to business software, it took me a long time having a technical background. It took me months to figure out what is the right tool for what the company is looking for. And that's when I realized, if we need to find a restaurant or if I need to find the doctor, it's so easy. It takes 5 minutes and you get a lot of help online. But when it comes to choosing the right technology for your business, there's not a lot of information, not a lot of help out there. At times these decisions can be key decision in company's momentum growth. And then I did some research and I found out that 75% of people are dissatisfied after making a purchase. And it's mainly because most of the time, people who are making these decisions, for example, if you're looking for HR software for your organization next, you're not the software expert. So what you will do is you'll probably Google, you'll read reviews, and still you'll end up spending a lot of time, might choose 3 to 4 systems or software that you're gonna do book demos for or look at pricing. And then eventually you'll make a call out of those 3 or 4 systems. But and that's why 75% of people are dissatisfied, because those are not the right software for what they're trying to resolve. And that's the need we realized about, say, 7-8 years ago, and we started working on this concept in 2019. And for the last 5-6 years, this is what we are building. We are trying to cut down on this gap, that if you've been assigned to look for a software in your organization, Software Finder is there. We have a very human-centric approach to this. We'll spend 10 minutes with you over the phone. We'll ask you the right questions. We'll determine the technology that is best suited for you. And then we'll connect you with those vendors so that you are not wasting a lot of time trying to get to their sales, trying to figure out the pricing or trying to set up demos. So all of this we do in literally 10 minutes. A great help. Buyers love when they speak to us, because in 10 minutes we connect them with 3 to 4 systems that they should be looking at. And the interesting stats is that when we connect them with 3 to 4 vendors, 80% of the time they make a decision out of those 3 to 5 options that we have narrowed down for them. And the dissatisfaction rate after making the purchase is a lot lower than what's industry standard, which is 75%. And then on the vendor side, it's a great help because they're getting the right people that they need to sell as per their ICPs. And obviously their closing ratios are a lot higher because we are doing the initial qualification for them. So it's a great help on both sides. And that's the gap we are trying to fill.
I think sometimes the best businesses come out of your own personal experience and your own personal need. So having gone through the process, understanding how there was that gap and being able to fill it, and understanding that you're delivering value not just to the customers but also to your vendors, and you're creating that perfect match. A lot of times it is a very big leverage point, especially nowadays. Most businesses rely on heavily on softwares, and it can really make or break day-to-day operations. I'm really curious how your process really does deliver measurable results, not just for the buyers that you serve, but also for the vendors who come to your platform.
Vendors are looking for the right buyers. They have developed the technology. Now they're looking for the right buyers. So on the vendor end, vendors spend a lot of money in terms of finding the right prospects. Traditional marketing, you will run a lot of digital campaigns. You will try to do a lot of SEO. You'll try to do a lot of paid marketing. And then still it is very hard to get the right prospects to your door. I mean, you will generate leads, but 50% of those leads are not the best prospects that you will be selling it to. So what end up happening on vendor front is, because their channel is building the wrong prospects, they will end up selling, because sales is sales. They will end up selling. They will see a lot of churn because of that, because they're not selling to the right businesses. And it's a big issue on the entire SaaS business. As you know, the churn is really a big problem in the B2B businesses, and mainly because they're not selling it to the right businesses. And that's where we help vendors tremendously, because we are doing the heavy lifting for them. Our consultants are trained in their technology in terms of what they offer. Whenever we onboard a vendor, we spend a lot of time trying to understand their technology, their pricing, their ICPs, and who their right target audiences are. And then we use all that knowledge to do the matchmaking when we are speaking to the buyers. And this way, vendors gets a lot of good prospects that otherwise would be very difficult for them to get, because they're trying to do marketing out in the open, where cannot really target as well as we can, because we are talking to their buyer before we are even sending them those leads. Apart from that, we also give them a lot of branding opportunities on our website, because buyers spend a lot of time on our website when they're in their purchase decision. We also help them with reviews, so they get a lot of branding, a lot of advocacy, and we also offer them badges, which shows where their strong points are in terms of functionality, in terms of customer support, in terms of customer implementation. And it keeps on changing, depending on how well they're doing. So it's not only leads that we provide them, we offer them a lot of branding opportunities as well, which is critical when they are selling, because buyers do a lot of research these days. It's not only the buyer side, we offer a lot on the vendor side as well.
I like that position. And I think, I mean, it's easy to understand, again, the value proposition for both the buyer and for the vendor to be able to get that exposure. And like you said, solve one of the biggest pain points of SaaS, which is the sticking point of client retention. That's the main factor that, builds that monthly recurring revenue and makes SaaS such a great business model. I am really curious. Everybody talks about AI every day, but this is something really interesting to me for your use case and for Software Finder especially. I know back when you started, there weren't many matching services between people who are buying softwares and people who are selling softwares. Me personally, I can say that what I'm used to doing right now is all the software recommendations that I get are through my chats with AI. It's finding the correct software at the correct time, and I'm making a lot of times the buying decision through that process. I'm very curious how you're adapting to current trends, and then also, what about the current trends are you most excited about when it comes to how you're using them to shape how you serve clients?
I mean, I agree. After LLMs, you can do a quick query, and then it will show you the top 10 software that you should be looking at. This is what people used to do before AI too. Like, you do a Google search, and whatever the top vendors that show up, you start to reach out to them. I mean, AI has helped narrow down option in a better way, but I call it like a glorified SEO. At the end, it's consuming content which is biased, which is written by someone that LLMs are picking up. That's the brain behind it. It's someone's content. The only difference is that it's showing you the content in a much better way than how we used to see on searches. At the end of the day, it's biased. When you are responsible to make a software purchase for, let's say, a 300 employee company, which is small to mid-sized company, then your decision is impacting 300 people. This is a decision that you cannot rely on an article that someone has written. Every company has their unique requirements. Every company has their a different set of results that they're trying to achieve in order to implement a software. And then if you're just relying on a search query, and then what will you end up doing? You will do the search, you will start contacting the top 4 or top 5 that LLM has recommended you. So you're still in the same loop, you're still following the same thing. And as I mentioned before, the problem is that it's most of the time it's the non-technical people looking for the software. So if your organization assigned you to look at HR, the organization decide we need a new HR software, who will end up looking for HR software? Mayor, what comes in your mind? Who will do the search? It will be the HR manager, right? HR manager is not trained in, he's not a software, or he or she is not a software expert. So they cannot really decide on what is the best software, and that's where we come in. We will speak to the HR manager. We'll spend 10 minutes, very human-centric approach. We'll ask the right question. We'll try to read between the lines. Sometimes you really don't know what you're looking for. So you need to ask the right questions to get there, which is where our team is trained on. And then we recommend them the top 5 that they should be looking at after spending 10 minutes exploring what they're really trying to achieve.
I really appreciate the human-centric approach, and it's the same area that we focus on here at RevGenAI. I am curious though about looking into a different part of Software Finder and how you're approaching your go-to-market. I imagine the way you target buyers is very different than the way you bring on new vendors. And I'm more interested to understand how you approach bringing on new vendors, because our approach is very vertical heavy when it comes to more targeted marketing approaches. So what's working for you right now in terms of marketing or client acquisition for your vendor side business specifically?
I mean, now the brand is growing, so a lot of vendors are reaching out to us. We get also getting a lot of referral attraction as well. We do a lot of marketing, obviously, towards SEO and on the paid PPC side. We get a lot of vendor-related leads from there. We also do direct marketing. We are getting a lot of buyers asking for certain vendors, and if we do not serve those vendors, then we reach out that we have a few buyers that are interested in your technology. We can help you guys in terms of connecting those buyers to your sales. There are a lot of multiple approaches that we use, but as a brand is growing, we're getting a lot of inbound traffic where vendors are reaching out to us because they can relate that how important this service is, and especially our human-centric approach, which makes the leads that we are sending sales ready for them rather than mid-funnel or marketing ready leads. So our leads are sales qualified, which they do not get from other marketplaces that are out there, because most of them are providing them intent signals, top of the funnel or maximum mid-funnel leads. Whereas with Software Finder, they get the sales ready leads, which is what every software vendor is looking for. Who doesn't want the sales ready leads, especially when they're so qualified?
I like that. So what would you say has been the biggest challenge in growing Software Finder? Is it the ability to really get those high tier vendors, or is it just an operational challenge of being able to service and manage all the relationships and connect all the dots? What has been one of the bigger challenges for you in terms of growth?
I think initially it was more of a chicken and egg problem, that if we are getting leads and we don't have vendors to send to, then we cannot really generate any revenue, because our service is absolutely free when it comes to the buyers. So we don't charge anything to the buyers. If we don't have enough vendors in those categories, then we are not producing any revenues, though we're generating leads. On the other side, if we get too many vendors and we don't have enough leads to send it to them, then again, we are not generating any revenue, because our model works on a pay-per-lead basis initially. And I think for us, getting buyers were the major channel that we faced in the first few years. We did get vendors onboarded because, as I said, everyone is looking for leads, so they didn't mind getting qualified leads from us. But when it comes to the buyers, SEO takes time. Generating leads is not easy in the B2B SaaS industry. So while we were figuring all this out, it was quite challenging to build buyers coming to our website. But now we generate about 350,000 traffic on our website every month. So we do get a lot of buyers coming to our website. So this problem is getting sorted now, and the equation is quite balanced, whereas it used to be quite problematic. Either we have a lot of leads or we have a lot of vendors initially. So it was challenging.
Yeah, and you need to have kind of a good balance of both, of
Yep.
supply and demand. I like to ask this question because I get creative answers. So if you had a magic wand, what's one thing that you'd change in your business right now to make your growth even easier?
We support so many different categories. Every category is in its own domain in itself. So, for example, HR to accounting to project management to ERPs. It is not easy to build the knowledge in every category and build the consultants. So, I think our major challenge is moving from one category to another, because the growth can only come if we are serving all the categories at one point. So right now we are quite big in 15 different categories, and there are about 35 to 40 major categories in the B2B SaaS industry. And then if you consider subcategories, there are like about maybe 2,000 subcategories within those 40, 50 main categories. So I think the biggest challenge is right now is to get into new categories as fast as we would like. So if I have the magic wand, that's where I would focus on in order to build that knowledge, in order to be the expert in every category as quickly as possible.
I like that. That's a good thing to understand, because sometimes this question, what it does for a lot of the people I speak to is it just helps them understand what's the one thing that's worth focusing on. Obviously, we don't have magic wands, but if we can solve that one problem, it will make a big difference, and so it's worth focusing on. I really do appreciate all the insights brought today, and just understanding your approach and how you help companies make better decisions, and you help companies who need good users have more exposure to qualified buyers. For anyone who is listening today and wants to learn more or connect with you, where's the best place for them to find you?
Yeah, so they can go to softwarefinder.com. If you are a software buyer or looking to implement a new technology, we can help you in 10 minutes through a very human-centric approach. Our consultants will reach out to you. So just go to the website, and there are forms all over our website for you to contact our consultants. And if you are a vendor and looking for very highly qualified leads, then again, you go to softwarefinder.com, and we have a for vendors section there. Reach out to us. We'll help you generate highly qualified leads. Again, if you're a buyer, we will help you narrow down options for you within 10 minutes.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Adnan.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for your time.